there's an expression I need to have, like, just outside of me tangibly today. In relevance to, I'll just shorten it and say HEDS PTCR. HEDS, so hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, tethered cord release surgery. I had my 2-week post-op appointment yesterday, and it was with the original physician's assistant. Pretty sure that's her title. Who did the diagnosis of tethered cord syndrome. I don't know if it's allowed or appropriate to say her full name, so I'll just say Jennifer. And so the appointment went very well, and she was taking the sutures out, and since that first appointment, I have had an intense need to express my gratitude to her. And ultimately what that comes down to is I feel the deepest importance for people to know that they are valued, not just by me, but I can only speak for myself. To know, I need people to understand that they are safe and also valued, and just how I hold the deepest gratitude for them. And it hurts when it seems that that is not understood with the depth with which I feel it. And so I tried expressing that gratitude to her, and it got like lightheartedly on her end kind of brushed off, where the credit was, put towards the whole team and that sort of thing. And like, yes, Dr. Savokos gets the full credit for the hands-on work, or at least gets like the majority of the credit for the hands-on work, and then the anesthesiology and that team, the actual operative team, great, fantastic, ultimate gratitude. It felt most important for me to express it deepest with Jennifer, because what was not the place to say at the time, even though it's what I intended to say, but it appeared she was not in a place of receiving fully that, and or training professionalism overtaking, the space of sentiment. And also, just as my counselor brought up, because I discussed this with him, how friars are taught to not perceive themselves as heroes in some kind of way, which, valid, sure, great, balance. And I said this to her. I said, you literally saved my life the day that we had that first appointment. And what was meant behind those words was, for one, you literally saved my life the day that you diagnosed me with tethered cord syndrome. Not because it meant that things would get better, or I was being promised some kind of cure or some kind of improvement. It was because leading up to that appointment, I almost canceled. I almost assumed that it was going to be the same thing that I had experienced for almost 32 years up to that point, of just blatant medical neglect. I had spoken out about these symptoms just separately And then in the past 10 years in particular, very specifically together, I had seen over 36 providers relative to these symptoms. That is over 36 providers outlining red flag symptoms separately and collectively, seeing all kinds of specialists, there were some that offered hints of sentiment, but no direction. Jennifer was the first person to actually listen. I didn't need a cure. I didn't need to know things were going to get physically better. The day I went in for that appointment, I had it set in my mind, I'm going to show up to this. I won't cancel. But if I'm denied this treatment, this surgery today, I am going to self-euthanize. In other words, commit suicide, but not with the intention of depression buildup, anxiety buildup, but out of mercy and compassion for myself. I was born with 4 out of 10 pain. Most of my life was 6 out of 10, and then the last 4 years has been 8 out of 10. I was not going to stick around for 9. Especially knowing that it was preventable. That we have the medicine, the practices in place to help me in some way. The fact that we've had that, and I was just denied that. But to build up to 8 out of 10, to be in that place for 4, say, if I'm being generous, 3 to 4 years, that is psychological torture, inevitably with physical torture. But it's not even that. I have overcome every adversity that comes my way. It is a matter of mercy that I was going to self-euthanize, as I word it, and also the fact that it was all preventable. The fact that I was not listened to. If it was some untreatable entirely disease or something, I could apply radical acceptance. But the fact that there has been a treatment for this, and I've spoken out about all of these very clear pointers to this, so the day I went to that appointment, if I was denied treatment, I was not going to live any longer. She saved my life the moment she diagnosed me with tethered cord syndrome. Because she was the first to listen. To really listen. It only takes one. To save a life. So, in a less organized than what was in my head way that I just expressed this, and I don't know if she'd ever see this video. but just so that it's out of me and out in some tangible way in the universe. Thank you, Jennifer, for saving my life.